Well, if you don't know why we're making our debut as Borussia Dortmund manager today, you probably need to go back and see the last episode. But today, we are making our Bundesliga debut as a manager, and we're coming up against a former Bayern legend who's now managing a different team. Yes, hello and welcome along to part 137 of the Head Coach with me, Daniel. We are back today at club number 8, our first one outside of the UK, and today we make our league debut in charge against Manuel Neuer's Stuttgart. We're trying to overturn Bayern Munich in the league title race, which is something that Dortmund haven't done for the last 4 years. We're also trying to get the better of them in Europe. And as you can see, we're trying to get the better of one of their club legends on the managerial front today. So we're not sure how that game's going to go. We'll have a look at Stuttgart and how they've been doing in recent years. But for now, we have got to talk about the transfer window, what's been going on in our opening weeks, and a thrilling cup win against a very poor side. If you're looking forward to all of that and a new season at a new club, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. The good news already is that the director of football is not as bad as John. But it is still a little bit weird because if we go and have a look at the transfer centre, you'll remember that I highlighted this was going to be the biggest transfer budget we ever had. And it's got bigger since because one player was on the verge of leaving and has now left the club. However, the big problem we've had here is that we haven't had one offer for a senior player in. There's a few youngsters getting picked up, a few of them with big potential, by the way. But we've not seen the director of football send any offers for players yet. Now, I don't know if that's because he thinks the squad is good enough, because it is well balanced, it is very high quality. Maybe he just doesn't want to mess with that. And as long as he doesn't sell anyone else from the first team squad, then quite frankly, I'm pretty happy with it. But I'm not sure whether that's going to remain the case, because we are getting a bit of interest in certain players and a few that are maybe suggesting they might want to go. And given the fact that virtually every first team player that leaves will also take a sell-on clause with them, it does mean that we're left in a position where we're going to need to invest. And I'm not sure if we're going to get that. We've not been best impressed with the director of footballs this year. Probably the last great one was Maidenhead. Otherwise, we've not had a great deal. Let's have a look at the transfer history though, because there have been a few ins regardless. Axel Johansson, I didn't realise last episode, had only just joined the club when we got there. He made his debut in the cup tie. We've had loads of players out. One of them we knew about, which was having a work permit at our former club before we came in. And then there's a few other sort of loan players and a few backup players that have left as well. But let's talk about the outs, because there had been one that had left before we joined the club. That man was Jaromir Vizek, who is a 21-year-old Czech Republic right winger, but you can see he's not at the same standard as the squad we've got. The big one, though, was Fabian Hellman, who, of course, is going to our former club United. We're going to take a look at their transfer work as well. It was a deal that was already at the work permit stage when we got here. Maybe it was something that Arne Slot had set up knowing he was going to United. But the big problem we've got really is that we had a better player at left back already, so there wasn't really that development path for him. So to get 60 million with a sell-on clause, I think is pretty good business. But obviously Arne Slot has done a cheeky deal there knowing he was on his way out. We mentioned briefly Anton Pashkov last episode, big potential. He's gone out on loan for the season. A few others as well, this guy being the main one. We mentioned him in our intro. 2-star ability, 3.5 potential. Again, we'll get a season of football at good level in Germany. And then further down, the only permanent sale, Gabriel Dort to Gladbach. He is a 16-year-old for 2.5 million. Not got the biggest potential in the world, but did look a decent player for 16, so maybe not something we want to be doing regularly. And then Adrian Aslani, someone we said maybe was a year away, but he's actually gone on loan to Bayer Leverkusen, which maybe suggests that beyond the top two, there's not the same strength in depth in the nation, which is probably a good thing for us, just Bayern to topple rather than 3 or 4. In terms of the ins though, we knew about Axel Johansson, he was here when we arrived, as was Derek Maxwell. The two that have joined since are Ryan Brody, from Atlanta United Academy, pretty decent young player, but probably not going to make it. And then Zach Ruff, another one from the USA. He is a left back with bigger potential, but doesn't look quite as good at the moment. So interesting to see the balance of people that are coming in. A lot of young players from academies, particularly in the US and South Africa. But at the moment, no additions in the first team. And not even a bid at the moment to suggest that there will be. Let's have a quick look at United though, as we promised, because Fabian Hellman went there with Arne Slot. We knew that they let both Kakada and Hervenhoff go already. What's happened since? Well, it's not been particularly good. I think I'd be throwing my toys out the pram again, because Wilmer Contreras has gone out on loan again. Gulsdorf has gone out on loan. I mean, they're just making the squad smaller and smaller. They've signed one other player, which was Dario Zek for 50 million. Another average midfielder who has been signed for huge money. Liechtenstein international, so they've bought through a very good player. I'm not sure, given the fact that so many players have gone, that's what they'd be wanting. So with Contreras out and with Hervenhoff out, I've no idea what they're doing at centre-half. They've got Kieran Jones. They've still got Deverlay, of course, but then there's not much behind that, is there? We go and have a look at their playing squad. They are light at the back. They've got a few players still who were out on loan last year, and it looks like Lindoso and Walcott will be leaving too. This is a very weak United squad, and I have no regrets about the fact we got out. Let's go back to Dortmund though and focus on this season. A massive win on the opening day in the Cup. We went to Reutlingen. I'm going to apologise to Germans in advance for my pronunciation. 11-0 was the victory. I went stronger than I probably had to because I wanted to get people settled in. But I did make a few changes to bring in younger players where there were two options in the squad. So for example, we played Adam Smith in goal, who I owe an apology to. In the last episode, you may have remembered I said the two English Smiths are our goalkeepers. Well, Adam Smith is actually Japanese and an international, so I do owe him an apology. Not sure how that one's worked out. Was he born in England? No, he was born in Japan, but had English relatives, so that makes a bit more sense. Similar type of player to Elijah Smith. You can see why I got confused. We won that one 11-0. Let's go through the goal scorers quickly. We had Joaquin score 1, Koomson got 3, Sniber got 1, Canales got a hat-trick, Gaita, Magnate and Kraus, who didn't leave the club despite having offers in when we arrived. And we also played a couple of the other youngsters, so Kelvin Santos, Hakrizaj at centre-half, and we also played Axel Johansson off the bench for his debut. So a really good start for our time there, and now we've got two big games on TV, so let's see where we're expected to finish, where the two opponents that we might get in today are expected to go. We'll certainly get through the Stuttgart game and see where they rate us in the title race, because we are expected in the season preview to finish third behind Bayern and Hoffenheim, who we mentioned in the last episode were good. Stuttgart mid-table, we've got a really hard start to the season. It's not going to be a walk in the park. Have we got any of the star players? Only Sniber, according to that. I've got to say, I was just wondering there why our left-back wasn't in the team of the year, and the Media Dream 11 has got a guy from Wolfsburg who are expected to finish 8th. I'm a little bit more worried now than I was, because he is beyond exceptional. At 68 million quid, frankly, we should be signing him as a replacement for Hellman. But let's go and have a look at what happened last year, just to give you a bit of an understanding of where German football is now. We know it's back up to the second biggest nation, just behind the Premier League now. But Bayern Munich were the team who have been winning it every year. They were very close from Hoffenheim, who actually lost less games. And for Dortmund, it was a few too many draws last year, which left them down in third. If we go back the year before, third behind Bayern and Bayer Leverkusen. Before that, fifth. Before that, second. Before that, champions. It's been a gradual decline for a few years, but this side is now rebuilt and most of it is at its peak. It's an opportunity for us to push on, and I would expect us to be second at the very worst. But I don't know if we've got enough to win the title this year. Mentioned as well that 2 years ago, it was Bayern v Dortmund in a Champions League final. Bayern won. Last year, it was Bayern v Dortmund in a semi-final. Bayern won. They are a thorn in our side in every competition. And that makes the start of the season even worse, because you'll notice, after winning that cup game at the weekend, in the second round, we've drawn Bayern away. It's almost like it's fixed for them to win it, isn't it? So if we can get through that one, the positive is we're probably favourites for the tournament, but it could be a very early cup exit. And if we don't start a tricky start to the season very well, we could be under a bit of pressure if we lose that one too. We got European football on the way. We'll see how that fits into the schedule. But for now, let's go and get through to the fixtures. The dynamics are looking pretty good. The managerial support is all right. And to be fair, the start to the season, no one has been exceptional. Bayern Munich did get their win 1-0 yesterday with Endrick, a late red card helping them. And Bayer Leverkusen nicked a 90th minute winner. So no one really standing tall at the moment. Hoffenheim yet to play. They come into action tomorrow. Tough game at Leipzig for them. But for us, let's go and get our 11 picks. Over 75,000 fans in today. We're going to make 3 or 4 changes from the cup match as we get our first teamers back in. We'll be back in a minute to run through the 11 and talk about our tactic here at Dortmund. Well, here we go. A few changes, and it looks a fairly complicated tactic we've got set up with Dortmund, but I assure you, this is very similar to what they were doing last year. I've had a look at how they were playing, whether they were dominating games, keeping the ball, what formations they were playing, of course, and this seems to be about as similar as we can go. So it's a 4-2-3-1, which we've played at a couple of clubs already. However, it is 2 holding midfielders instead of 2 centre mid. So it's a bit more what FM actually suggests in this game. Does give us the defensive protection where we're not particularly strong by our left back, and it allows our front 4 who are exceptional to go on and attack and win the game. We've got a positive mentality. We've got a lot of instructions on in possession. Off the ball though, is pretty much your bog standard. The high press, the high line, don't let their goalkeeper distribute short, stop the crosses, counter and counter press, all of the stuff you would expect. The difference with Dortmund is it's about possession. We've got better ball players. You've seen some of the technicians. I mean, a reminder, Sniper is that good. He's exceptional on the ball. And Keeley is exceptional on the ball and now 33. Even Joaquin, who is the ball winner of the team, is not a bad footballer, to be fair to him. Then you look out wide, we've not really got natural wingers. We've got Cardon, who's an experienced number 10, and Koomson, who is a quality footballer, likes to carry the ball. Even Canales, the centre forward, is an excellent footballer and wouldn't be out of place as our number 10 in a world-class team. Add to that, we've got fullbacks who can cut in with quality, and we're looking for the underlap. We're looking to keep the ball, but the strategy's the same. We're going to play out. We're going to play quickly. We're going to try and get the ball into the box, but this time, instead of going more direct and running at defenders, we're going to try and keep the ball and look for those cutting-edge passes, which are the likes of Sniper and Keeley, Van der Plume, Cardon, Goomson, all very capable of finding. So let's hope that works out. It's the plan for us for this season, and this is the team that will start. It is 1 player off our current first 11. Little bit upset we haven't got a left winger in because Cardon is basically a backup number 10 playing out there. The other one, Olaizola, is okay, and Kraus can cover out there too. Kraus is very much Joseph Taylor of Dortmund, so let's hope that doesn't mean he's going to get sold. The only player who doesn't make it today is Aubert, who was out injured last week. He is going to be on the bench because he's not quite suggested to play. Steinker's not much worse at right back though, so I've no problem with that for a home game. Geiter does miss out on the bench because he's got a little knock, and Johansson not quite made the squad for this one. Would have dropped Hakrizaj out if Geiter was fit, but it wasn't to be, so this is the way we've gone. We've got Elijah Smith in goal, sweeper keeper on support. I'm going to try it. We'll see how it works. Might move him back to defend actually. Let's bottle it. We've got Van der Plume and Steinker the fullbacks with Merville and Olapo as centre half. Probably pronounced that wrong, apologies. Joaquin and Keeley the defensive mids. Sniper the star man at number 10. And then Koomson and Cardon off Canales up front as we try and get a win against Stuttgart. We're playing quite narrow, so there is a chance we can get caught out. But hopefully the quality and the speed of our football will be enough to put Stuttgart away. Let's go and get into it, see how we get on. It's going to be a pretty tricky game. It's going to be a tough start to the season. But if we can win this one, I'll be full of confidence. Let's go and see if we can. Well, as we head into the first game of the season against Manuel Neuer's side, look at the familiar name in the visiting team. It's the captain Rico Lewis, who starts as a young star at Manchester City in the real game. I've got to be honest, I don't recognise many other names. So let's go and get into the first half. I want to see how Lewis is going now. He must be 32, 33. He is 34 now, and he is one of the more experienced ones, so he's very much on the decline. But let's go and get through to the first half. It's a much younger side other than that. And good news, the Bundesliga is licensed in-game, so you won't have to tell me about logo packs anymore. Through to the pre-match we go. Oh, I really like some of the graphics. I always love the leagues that have got this. The Bundesliga one's looking nice. And let's be fair, they're playing 4-4-2. They're going to be a bit more direct, I've got a feeling. Let's see how we get on in this one. It is Dortmund versus Stuttgart. A few teams have already been in action, but we're going straight into the first half. Fingers crossed we'll make it a comfortable day. As it's a free kick early on for Koomson off the left. Lots of players in the box. Sniper's one of them. And I mentioned that he was a brilliant player. Technically, he's world class. He's Iniesta level. He's Xavi level from those in my generation. He's also 6'3" and he's a monster in the air. I've got him on the back post. I want him to have a record-breaking season. I've not managed a player this good in this career so far, and I want to make the most of it, as set pieces, they're going to be crucial to us turning the screw this season. As early doors, though 1-0 up, it is Stuttgart on the front foot. The start gets the ball to Rico Lewis, who we looked at pre-game. Probably means he's going to put a screamer in now. Big ball over the top, which is dealt with by Nkili. Out to Van der Plume at left back, and back to Elijah Smith, one of the two players we've worked with before in this squad. Merville out to Van der Plume again, into Sniber. Look at him dropping in. He's comfortable on the ball. He takes it under pressure. Oh, I'm going to love managing him. And Larbo at the back to Merville. We're not in a rush to get it forward, but when we do find the right pass, watch it speed up. Joaquin to Sniber to Canales. There it is. Stoinker's overlapping on the right. He's got support from Koomson. Two in the middle. Sniber's there, as is Canales. Koomson doesn't need them. It's blocked to Carden, and his shot is off the line. Rico Lewis does very well. Dominance early doors from Dortmund. We just can't get that second goal. Well, the stats are magnificent, but we've not got the goals to show for it, although the set pieces are a big threat. Marnon and Larpo gets up at the back stick. He's a great centre-half, but he hasn't played for us before. He was out in the last game because I played one of the youngsters, and here he has shown how good he is. He is 6'2", he's very good in the air, and while he's 32, he's still a monster physically. Got all the technical attributes as you'd expect, as we're up with another one. Merville hits the post. Oh, we've got the physical advantage here. And it is something we said when we were going through this team. As well as being well balanced, the director of football has clearly put a focus on great personalities, mentality monsters, the old Jurgen Klopp style, bringing it back to Dortmund, but also on the physical nature. We got some really good players physically. As Steinke beats two, back to Joaquin. Oh, that's a class goal. That's our defensive midfielder who's sitting in front of the back four, and he's put one in. The backup right back just skinned 2 or 3. Actually better going forward than Aubert. And this has been a brilliant first half of football. The next few games are going to be a bigger test. We'll see one of them on camera with deadline day. But for now, I'm a very happy man. It's a brilliant first half. It's a brilliant performance. And we're 3-0 up against a side that are expected to be pretty comfortable in mid-table. Well, we've got just over 25 to go. I was about to make changes, but you know my superstition. A highlights arrived as Nkili chips in. Canales scores. I've got a feeling that'll be offside. There's a small chance the right back played him on, but I'm not sure that's going to count. Would be nice for him to get off the mark, but goal is disallowed for offside. What I was about to say before the highlight came, though, is we'll come back with 25 to go and make changes because this game is won and we've got youngsters on the bench. We've got Kelvin Santos at 21. He is the long-term replacement for Nkili, so as many times as possible this year, I'll get him on to replace him and hopefully get some experience. Mugnai is the 22-year-old model citizen striker. He's going to come on for Canales in this one. Marcel Kraus is only mid-20s. Hakuraj is 20. He's going to come on. Nalabo, again, 32 years of age. Let's bring on the long-term replacement. Kraus will come on the left for Cardon, who again is the other player in his 30s. And he will be a winger on attack. And then the last sub, I've got to choose between head and heart. In 5 minutes, I could go for Gruznov just to give him an appearance again. Or I could go for Aubert, who needs to build his fitness up. We'll see where the game is and we'll make our decision. We're just under 20 minutes to go and we're here as it's a long ball forward by Stuttgart. Sene gets in. I don't know what Elijah Smith was doing. He didn't cover his near post at all and Sene just tapped it in. A very bizarre goal, and it came from a straight ball over the top by the looks. We didn't see much of it. It was a very strange one. But if they're on the attack again and if they score another one, we could be in big trouble here. As Enrique chips it over, Sene's there again. Maybe we changed things a bit too soon, particularly at the back here. These sides are pretty good still, and even though we're comfortable with our first team, we don't want to get too complacent, as Merville at the back out to Van der Plume. A fourth goal here would just calm us down a bit, but that's poor from Santos. It's another one of the subs. That looked offside for a deal, and I really hope it is. Elijah Smith made the save anyway. But one mistake from the centre-half, one from the centre-mid. I'm going to shore things up now and bring on Aubert. He needs a bit of fitness anyway. And while Steinke's had a very good game, it's not a fault at all. We need a more defensively solid fullback to protect Hakuraj. We've got 2 minutes plus stoppage time, 5 of them added on. And to be fair, Stuttgart have only had that one shot. But it was a bit of a dampener on the day. A 3-1 win, a very comfortable result. Not the best performance in the second half, but job done, a very good win, and a happy start at Borussia Dortmund. Let's go and look at the schedule, see when we're going to be back. So first game done, first man of the match award for Znaiba, and I've got two decisions to make here for when we come back. I'm either going to do Gladbach and deadline day, which will depend a bit on whether we see any offers for players, whether any big people leave the club. If not, I'll probably just skip through it because I want to get through these seasons quickly and hopefully get 2 or 3 in. And if not, we're going to come back around mid-September where we should have our first Champions League game. So it will partly depend on that draw, which we should get a day or two before the Gladbach game. So it will either be the last game of August and deadline day, or it will be an early Champions League group game. We'll find out in a couple of days' time, but if you did enjoy this one, a big start to the season on the pitch and a very quiet one off it, and please do put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know what you thought of the tactic down in the comments, and will Znaiba pick up a record for man of the match trophies, because he is just exquisite. I absolutely love the man already. Don't let him get sold. That's the only thing that will ruin my mood. If you want to stay up to date with the season, see how we get on, and whether we can topple Bayern in any of the competitions, then please do subscribe and turn that notification bell on. I hope you're looking forward to this stint as much as me. I feel after that draining last year, battling against the odds and against the board at United, we've finally got a club that is pulling in the right direction that we can get excited about. I'll see you next time to see if my spirits have dampened, or if a director of football can finish the month in style.